All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the 1883 Speaker Series. My name is Mike Wozniak, and I serve as the Coordinator of Leadership and Programming in the Student Involvement and Parent Programs Office. In the next 18 minutes and 83 seconds, we will learn a new lesson on leadership, as well as some advice to guide our personal and professional development. For today's speaker, please join me in welcoming the Vice President of Development at the UND Alumni Association and Foundation, Mike Mannausau.
Thanks, Mike. Good afternoon, everybody. Let's keep the applause train going for Big Mike and his team over here. They do a tremendous job with the 1883 series. I know Dr. Art Malloy and Cassie Gerhardt also play an important role in the creation of this, and it's an honor to be up here today and talk to you. Some wonderful, wonderful things from this 1883 series. A couple observations I've made, whether it's been sitting there or watching online. Wow, there have been some outstanding speakers until today. A couple other things I've noticed is this, that we are in great hands with leaders both on campus and in our community, having listened to some of the speakers. Now, also our alumni that have had the opportunity to speak that are out in the country, we've had tremendous leaders, and again, the part that I love the most is that the University of North Dakota has been an integral part to all of us, myself included. So again, thank you to everybody, Mike and the team, and everybody who's at the 1883 series. It's an honor to be here today with all of you. So my hope today is to break down my speech into three areas. 1, personal development. 2, professional development. And 3, some leadership skills that I think are important. A couple things to think about as well today. Year and a half of great speakers. There's probably not going to be anything cutting edge that you haven't already heard, something that somebody else has already covered. I'll just put my spin, my own twist on it as well today. So I don't expect you to walk out of here just wowed, but you might be able to take 1 or 2 things if you haven't had a chance to listen to some of the other great speakers. The other thing I've tried to do today is put it in a framework of what I would tell a younger version of myself. For all the students that are here, maybe it's as much geared for them, what maybe somebody should have told me when I was in their age, and for us people that have a little bit more miles on the tires, let's say, a good refresher for us as well, too. So that's my hope. Let's get started a little bit here today. So again, a little bit about myself. I grew up in a small town, International Falls, Minnesota. You may have heard of it. Our claim to fame is it is the ice box of the nation. We're really, really proud of being the coldest city in the United States. So much pride in that in fact, when I graduated, I decided to come to arguably the second coldest city in the United States, Grand Forks. Now, why it's important small town? Because I do believe a lot of who I am and the foundation of what I am today started in that small town. A lot of you maybe grew up in small towns. Other people have grown up in small towns that have spoke. Sports was an important part to our community. It was important to me, still is a big part of my life. Why that's important is this. In a time when there was no internet, no social media, my first role models, my first heroes, were the young men and women who wore the Bronco jersey. I couldn't wait to grow up to be a Bronco. I couldn't wait to put on the purple and gold Letterman's jacket with the big F. Could not wait for that opportunity. The best part, though, was I got to see my heroes, my role models, at Dairy Queen or Hardee's, Cine 1 and 2. That was the movie theater, okay? They were there. I got to sit down and listen to them, hear them speak. Today, if my role model wasn't in my town, I wouldn't have that opportunity. Why it's important for me in leadership, a lot of it that I look at and what I've learned is the ability to watch, to learn, to hear other people. I've taken that from at a young age when I grew up in that town. Now, other good thing about growing up in a small town, your coaches are your teachers. A lot of times they overlap. I was fortunate to have some tremendous teachers. Put up with a lot of crap when I was a kid, probably, right? Wasn't the model student. 2 people I do want to point out, though, that have had a huge impact on my life as coaches, my high school football coach, Stuart Nordquist, and my high school hockey coach, Dean Blaze. You may recognize Coach Blaze. He's won a number of national titles here, both as an assistant coach, as a head coach. These 2 men, though, had a big impact on me, both personally, professionally. They were the first 2 people that I remember that I wanted to grow up and be like. They were the ones that made me think I want to be a coach and I want to impact lives. Not so much what they said, but what they did for me. They were the first to motivate, inspire, hold me accountable, gave me my first dreams of what I could be as an individual. These 2 men I hold very, very high in my life. They've had a big impact. But without a doubt, The two most important people in my life growing up in this small town have been my parents. I'm very, very fortunate to have the parents that I do. A little bit about them. My mother, first grade teacher for 31 years. God bless her. Could you imagine doing that? Okay. God bless all the teachers out there. Shout out to all the College of Education and Human Development grads, as a proud alum of that college as well. But why I talk about my mom, the impact she's had on me. She probably is one of the most positive people that I've ever met. In some of my darkest and our family's darkest times, hardest times, she always had a way to make it feel like it was going to be okay. We were going to get through it. She had a positivity about her that I always loved. My dad, he owned his own logging company. Hardest working man I've ever met. Hands down, person I respect and admire the most in my life. Between the two of them, the two biggest things that I learned, the takeaways that I've had of all the things that they've taught me. There we go. Effort and attitude. Not only when they were younger, even today. As life has thrown challenges at them, I admire and am inspired by the way they have great effort and their attitude towards life. Think about it. If we wake up every single day, give great effort in anything you do, you're going to come out ahead more times than not. If you can wake up and have a great attitude towards all the stuff life throws at you, if you can keep a positive attitude more times than not, you're going to come out ahead on top more times than not. If you take away nothing else from this today, easiest thing for us to control is our effort and our attitude. Wake up, work hard, have a good attitude towards all of the stuff that's going to come at you in life. Okay? Daylight in the swamp. My father used to wake me up and my sisters when he felt we were sleeping too long with this saying. We had a house, he'd yell up from the bottom of the stairs, daylight in the swamp. No political innuendo in there by any means, okay? What it meant was time to get up, get to work. That's my recollection to giving great effort. Daylight in the swamp. Okay? The other thing he used to say about attitude, or I took it as attitude, is he used to have a saying, and this is maybe a glass half full, glass half empty approach. For sure it's glass half full. My dad used to say, there is no such thing as a bad Bloody Mary. Now I understand there are better ones than some, but there's really no such thing as a bad one. Now I understand that we are on a college campus and that might not be appropriate. So here's another saying that I think is important. All right? So again, as you read it, essentially it's saying there are going to be bad days, and how you approach that is going to be important. You can't always have a good day, but you can always face a bad day with a good attitude. Or, as Larry Mannausau would say, there's no such thing as a bad Bloody Mary. Okay? So that's a little bit about me and where I come from. All right, personal development. Again, what type of person do you want to be? And again, remember, this is me telling a younger version of me what I think would be important. There are a lot more areas and a lot more things you could put on here. These are some that I think are important that I would have benefited from. Number one, I truly believe as a person, deep down, you got to figure out the type of person you want to be. Okay? In order to build anything else on top of that, you got to have a foundation. And the foundation starts with the person that you want to be. Okay? For younger people, I think it's important to try to put some thoughts into what you want to be as a person. For us older people, are we living up to kind of those thoughts, what we would want to be? One of the areas, without a doubt, for me is core values. Builds off of the type of person you want to be. Okay? So think about somebody who was an impact in your life, a mentor, a leader, a coach, a parent. In the simplest forms, I bet they were a good person. Deep down, the starting blocks, they were a good person. Okay? All good leaders, in my opinion, have to have some core values. Now, I'm not going to tell you which ones. That's up to you to decide. Whether it's compassion, integrity, trust, respect, there's a ton of them. They're all great. You should, if you haven't, thought about what are your core values. What do you want to be thought of when people think about you? And in the basic, simplest forms, are you a good person? You can build off of that. What I would tell another thing to my younger self, boy, is this going to be important. Every single day we make mistakes, whether you're young, you're old, you're in a relationship, right? There's lots of mistakes we make. You better be able to learn from them. Some of the greatest lessons I've learned is watching somebody else. Some of the hardest things is to say, I would never do it that way. I would do it differently. Take advantage of other people as well. The mistakes they make, you can learn from them. Certainly have to learn from your own mistakes. The definition of asinine is to continue to do the same things over and over and expect different results. If we're not willing to change on our mistakes, how are we going to have a better version of ourselves? Last thing I would tell myself, don't be afraid to fail. It's going to happen every single day. We're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to fail. One of my favorite quotes is the man in the arena. I'm not going to quote it to you, but it is something that has always hit home with me since high school. High school football coach talked a lot about it. Get in the arena is what I would tell you. Get in the ring. Don't be afraid to try. Try. Don't be afraid to fail. It's going to happen, but don't worry about it. I always love how the man in the arena finishes. Again, get in the arena, try. Don't be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. It's easy to point fingers and blame people when you've never been in the ring, when you've never been in the arena. If you don't try, the rewards aren't going to be as high either. So again, this is just a couple things that I would tell a younger version of myself personally. They're simple, they're easy for me to think of and to do. A couple things I would tell my younger self about professional development. There's no magic formula, right? This is where effort, attitude, patience all play a big part. I told you about my first role models, my first heroes. I have always benefited from watching, learning, listening to people that I know are good leaders. I've learned by watching people that maybe aren't as good as leaders, what not to do. Remember the leader that you thought about just a little bit ago. What were they like? Do you emulate that? Do you try to figure that out for yourself? Bottom line though, learn. Today there's so many ways to learn. You have podcasts, YouTube, books, everything. Find whatever fits for you and keep learning. When you stop learning and think you know it all, you're going to be in trouble. Okay? Another thing I would tell myself at a younger age, don't be afraid of trying new things outside your comfort area. We are so much in a box a lot of times. We like things a certain way. Don't be afraid to try something new. As a leader or an emerging leader, you better get comfortable being uncomfortable. You will be put in situations where you're uncomfortable, whether it's conversations, decisions, speaking in front of a large crowd. You're going to be put in situations where you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. But those are opportunities as a leader to grow. And you can grow through actions, words, and experiences, in my opinion. Don't be afraid to get out there and try new things. Okay? Another thing I would tell a younger version of myself, make sure you get ready to make decisions and choices. It's not an option when you become a leader. You have to sometimes make decisions. Okay? Now, if you're blessed with children, you've already been doing it. When is bedtime? When is bath time? How much ice cream do you get? Curfews as they get older, right? You've already had to make some tough decisions. You've had to deal and negotiate in decision making. If you haven't had an opportunity to have children, I would tell you get involved in your community. On our campus, there's so many groups and areas where you can get involved. Volunteer, mentor, coaching, right? I think of an opportunity that I took. So one of the things I did here was I was a football coach for about 12 years here at UND. I also coached girls hockey for a number of years and boys youth football. So think of the conversations that I've had to have between a college football player, a 12-year-old girl, and a 10-year-old boy. All of that has been a great experience for me and a great opportunity. It does force you to make some decisions. You're going to have to do that, okay? But again, don't be afraid to get involved in your community. Last thing, and maybe the most important thing I would tell myself, having difficult conversations as a leader is going to happen. It's not if, it's when. You have to try to get comfortable with that. Having soft skills equals power skills. Two people come to mind, not just giving her a compliment because she's my boss and she's here. Deanna Carlson-Zink and Andy Armacost are experts in this area. Whether it's one-on-one, small groups, or large groups. The ability to have difficult conversations but with a softness and a grace around it is impressive. I would tell myself, get used to and try to get as good as you can because you will have to have difficult conversations, without a doubt. All right. Leadership skills. Again, some lessons maybe that I've learned. Be consistent. Talked about it already. Daylight in the swamp. Get up, go to work. Have a great attitude. Control what you can control. The easiest thing, in my opinion, is our effort and our attitude. Some things we can't control, but we can control our effort and we can control our attitude. Bad things are going to happen in life. Events are going to happen. How we handle, how we react to that. I would also say be consistent as much as you can and try not to let emotion get in the way of being a leader. There are going to be highs and there are going to be lows. The more we can stay as even keel as we can, it helps with the decision making and it helps with people looking at you. When I was that little boy looking at my football coach or hockey coach or those role models, I was watching. People are watching you when you're a leader. How you react to situations, in my opinion, is important. I always love the quote, optimism is a performance-enhancing drug, and it's free and legal. Don't forget that. Be consistent in what you do. Second thing I'd tell myself, be patient. No quick fix to getting to the top, right? I would say it is difficult to get a promotion by being average in your current job. Right? Work the job you have today and do it over and over and over, day after day, month after month, year after year. If you do a good job, your next job will find you. Be patient. It doesn't happen overnight. Driving in today, I was kind of practicing this, and I thought, okay, I'm going to try to make a joke out of this. So yesterday was Fat Tuesday, right? I took full advantage of Fat Tuesday and many other Tuesdays in the past few years. If I wanted to lose all the goodies that I ate on the last 2-3 years of Fat Tuesdays, would I be able to do it overnight if I went to the gym this afternoon and did 25 sit-ups, some jumping jacks, and push-ups? No. It'd take me years to kind of work that off, right? Patience, same thing. I don't know if that was funny or not, but I kind of thought it was going to be coming in. Next thing I would tell myself, this is important to me, be genuine. This is, again, the type of person you want to be. We all have positives and negatives to us. Nobody's perfect. You are who you are. Embrace it. Doesn't mean don't try to get better versions of yourself, but you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know everything. Laugh at yourself. Recognize your weaknesses. People will see through you if you're not genuine. Again, be authentic. In my opinion, some of the greatest leaders, they are who they are every day of the week. Next thing I would tell myself, as I've gotten older, this is easily one of the most important things. Surround yourself with great people. Hire great people. Do everything you can to support and care for them, which may include having tough conversations, holding them accountable, empowering them, giving them the opportunity to grow, to exceed. Why do I say that? Because I've had that opportunity. People have given me that, given me the opportunity to grow, right? Doesn't mean you're not there to inspire, to help, to criticize, but having that tough conversations at times is important as well. And I always thought this, and it comes from the team approach in sports. You can't do exceptional things as an individual when it comes to team sports. And life and leadership, in my opinion, is a team sport. You need great people to help you along the way. Be willing to change and learn. It's pretty self-explanatory, right? If you're not willing to change or adapt, you're probably going to get lost or you're going to get left. World is always changing and evolving, never going to stop. We have to always try to stay with that. The hardest thing I would say in my lessons to myself would be when and where. That's, again, goes back to the people. When do we change and where do we change? Why do we change? Surround yourself with great people, and that can help. Deanna Carlson Zink talked about BlackBerry. They're no longer with us. How about Blockbuster Video? They're gone. Toys R Us, my favorite when I was a kid growing up. Barnum and Bailey, the circus, they're all gone. So again, if we're not changing or evolving, we're probably going to get lost. Probably the most important thing, again, I've said it before, must be able to make choices. Love the saying, the quote, I've used it with our development team a few times, a good plan vigorously executed today is far better than a perfect plan executed next week. General George Patton, I believe, is who said that. Deanna talked about during her speech, don't be a flat squirrel, right? If you don't move, you get run over. Same thing here. As a leader, you've got to be able to make choices. Don't be afraid to fail when you make those choices. They're not always going to work out. I would also tell my younger version of myself, there are times, Mike, where leadership is going to be lonely. What is popular is not always right, and what is right is not always popular. Stuart Nordquist, International Falls quote, okay? It is lonely. Sometimes when you make decisions, not everybody likes that. Not everybody appreciates it. All I ever can ask people is, do you understand why? Not asking you to like it, but leadership at times can be very lonely. When it's going good, everybody's with you. When you got to make some tough choices, some tough conversations with people, that's sometimes where it can be lonely. But it is still worth it. It is very rewarding. Okay, in closing, I hope you look forward each day with the eagerness for the daylight in the swamp. And when your challenge in life are presented, I hope you remember there's no such thing as a bad Bloody Mary. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Mike. And thanks to all of you for being here. Join us March 26th when we welcome the Associate Vice President of Public Safety and Chief of University Police Department, Rodney Clark. Have a great spring break, everyone.